It's nice, huh? Your Excellency, honored guests and laureates, fellow laureates, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to try to express my gratitude for this extraordinary honor. Words may fail me, that's why I have this. So I grew up right here in Ontario, in a little village called Chippewa, population 1,500. I went to high school in nearby Niagara Falls, where I was a total art and science geek. I was president of the science club, which I had to start myself because there was no science club. Only 2 members, me and a Czechoslovakian girl that didn't speak any English. My family moved to the US when I was 17. And I lived there and then subsequently all over the world, since then, wherever my films and my ocean exploration took me. And as you can probably hear, I've lost my oats and boats along the way, though I still say sorry a lot. So what does it mean to be from Canada all those years ago and to be here now receiving this extraordinary honor as a Canadian? Well, you can take the boy out of Canada, but you can't take the Canada out of the boy. And I'm still a proud native son. Canada in my DNA is a set of values I grew up with in rural Ontario. I've spent my summers on my grandfather's farm. So it's a work ethic, it's a sense of fairness and respect for others. There's a decency, but there's also a toughness. And most importantly, I think, a sense of self-reliance, that with enough hard work, you can overcome any obstacle. So through all my decades as a filmmaker, I never thought I was particularly gifted. I just figured I could knuckle down and I could work harder than all the others. And I think I even enjoyed the outcome more, the more challenging the task. And those values served me well in that hard scrabble world of Hollywood. So this incredible award signifies to me that my fellow Canadians who share those values may see in my work something that they can also be proud of. And that's just tremendously fulfilling to me. I learned to scuba dive when I was 15 in a YMCA pool in February. And my first open dive was in a freezing-ass Canadian river. I subsequently have dived all over the world, and that's a love affair with being underwater and being in the ocean that continues to this day. And later, as a deep ocean explorer, diving in submersibles miles down, such as to the Titanic wreck. I've actually dived there 33 times, and that means that I've actually spent more time on that ship than the captain did. And to the Bismarck wreck and to hydrothermal vents all over the world and lots of targets of interest scientifically and cinematically. So what has all this ocean engineering and science got to do with the visual arts? Well, the common element, of course, is imagination. As a kid, I just voraciously consumed science fiction and fantasy in books, movies, television, comic books. And when I realized that the most incredible alien life forms that I could imagine were already right here in our own world, just underwater, I realized I could go see them with my own eyes. I just had to go and look for myself. So exploration is merely curiosity and imagination acted upon. And what is the value of exploration if you don't tell the story of what you've done and what you've witnessed? I call it bearing witness when I see these amazing sights at the bottom of the ocean. So storytelling closes the loop. I've directed 9 feature films, but I've made 14 documentary films. And those same storytelling skills are just as important when the subject is non-fictional as well as when it's fiction. My art, my drawing, my painting, my writing, my cinema, and my exploration, it's all a manifestation of curiosity and imagination, and a touch of that Canadian cheekiness that says, I can do this. As a kid growing up in rural Canada, my curiosity was, it drove me out into the woods, and it was driven by all that incredible wonder of nature all around me. And I was a total science nerd. I was studying pond water samples through my little Tasco microscope, and I was just so in awe of the wonder of the natural world. And science fiction are two sides of the same coin in my mind. So it seems natural to me that as an adult I was doing both science fiction films, and I was also living a kind of a real life science fiction life at the controls of an inner space ship diving miles into the abyss. Anyway, somehow it all made sense to me. And it's all ultimately about storytelling. So I just want to round this out by talking a little bit about the future of storytelling. I've been in the movie business for 45 years, and this is the most challenging moment that I've seen in all that time for cinema as we know it, actually going to movie theaters as opposed to staying home and streaming. Our collective viewing habits are changing, attention spans are shorter, the immediacy and access of streaming and so on are dominating our decisions about how and what we watch. And theater going is off about a third since COVID, and it hasn't recovered. And you add to that the potential of AI to completely disrupt films and television and how they're actually made. So everything's changing, and there's no going back. We're co-evolving with our technology. But film has always been a technical medium, and there's been wave after wave of technological revolutions. And I'm no Luddite. I'm going to do what I've always done, which is to ride these new waves of change, to figure out how to improve my storytelling art using any new technology. But above all, without sacrificing my individuality, my humanity, my empathy that I uniquely bring to it, just as any artist, any of these artists here, in any medium, bring their unique eye and the totality of their lived experience to their art. So my message to young filmmakers would be, okay, use the new tech as it evolves and embrace it, but be uniquely yourself, and don't let the tech override your emotional engagement with your audience. And also, don't forget to embrace the collaborative spirit, working with other artists around you. And for young filmmakers, especially right now, I remind them, your actors are your collaborators. They are your greatest strength. And don't replace them with AI-generated synthetic characters. That will never be the path to true human connection. Even in the Avatar films, it's not AI, it's Zoe Saldana and Sigourney Weaver and Sam Worthington creating those moments of deep human emotion. So art is made for humans, by humans. It's one human soul wrestling with the joys and the terrors of our existence and manifesting that into the world, into this commons of consciousness where we define our shared experience and all its glorious complexity. AI can hold a mirror up to us, but it's never felt that joy and that pain. So in this age of AI, I believe that a traceable provenance back to the individual artist will become ever and ever more important. We'll need to know that there was an individual pair of eyes, a mind, a musical or visual imagination behind the art that flows from them. And I think live performance, living, breathing humans, singing, dancing, playing instruments right before our eyes will become more important than it ever has. So maybe this false promise of AI can reunite us with our own humanity. We live in interesting times, and I, for one, have no intention of backing off the throttle creatively. My curiosity and my imagination won't let me. Thank you.